Good morning and welcome back to the Messy Cook. It is strawberry season here in Southern Ontario, and I got all these beautiful, this is a whole flat, there's 6 quarts of strawberries from Josmar Acres in Linden. It's one of the places I prefer to get my strawberries from because they always taste like candy. So what I've done is I've put these in water, which I've just taken out of. I guess I should have shown you that, but I've soaked them in water for about 3-4 minutes and just give them a little jiggle around. I'll show you what I did. I'll take a few back here. So just have them floating in the water. I made sure they were all kind of covered, and that's it. Just jiggle around in my hand and take them out. So basically what I just want to do is get off any straw bits, any loose dirt that might have been there from when they were picked. Now you can pick these yourself if you want at Josmar's. I think their picking season is over just now, but I prefer to buy them because I'm too tired and, well, you know, anyhow, I'd rather just buy them. So what we're going to do today is we are going to make this into strawberry jam, strawberry rhubarb and strawberry banana. I have rhubarb in the freezer from last year, so I'm going to take that out to defrost. I'm also going to do one batch of, I'm not going to do large batches. I used to do a lot, but honestly, it's just the two of us now. So half strawberry banana and half strawberry rhubarb. So we'll get to the strawberry banana shortly, and then I'll show you the strawberry rhubarb. And I hope you stick along with this video. And if you have any questions, don't forget to ask. We'll be back shortly. There is my frozen rhubarb. Let's see when this, actually this was 2 years ago. This was June of 2024 I froze this, but it's been sealed fine, so I'm going to use that and it'll be great. So we'll get back to it. I'm going to show you how to prep the strawberries and get everything measured out properly, and then we're going to go from there and get those jams made. Okay, so the next step in this process is I'm going to get all of the berries ready. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop all the tops off. I could use a little huller, and I can actually show you that because I have one in my drawer if I can find it. So you have a choice of options. Now I'm going to chop the tops off with a knife because normally when you hull, and this might still work, you can see here, I'll just show you. You're going to just scoop out the top of the berry. So actually I might just use the huller anyhow. It's easier than a knife and less apt that you're gonna, hit your finger. So you just want to get the top out. So what I'm doing is I'm going to put the berries in one bowl and I'm going to put the tops in another. I have some frozen ones I did from a quart of strawberries we had the other day, just for some desserts and stuff. I'm going to save all the tops and I'm going to make a strawberry lemonade syrup with that. So that's going to be on another video. So basically I just have to go through all of these and get them off. I want to make sure I don't get any of the green tops, and that's it. We're just gonna, oops, throw them in the wrong bowl there. I'm just gonna do all of that with these, one of the great big bowl of berries, and then I'll show you how to measure out for the 2 different recipes that we want. So I'm going to continue with that, and we'll come back after that. While I'm going along here, I'm just going to let you know this time I'm making it. I've always used powdered pectin. This time I'm going to use liquid pectin. It's the one I found when I was at the fruit market, and I forgot that I realized actually that I hadn't had any, I didn't have any powdered pectin. If you are using powdered pectin, my recommendation, if you're here in Canada anyhow, is to use Certo. No offense against Bernardin, but the Bernardin, every time I use their pectin, it does not hold. So it doesn't thicken up the way it's supposed to. And for myself, through all the years that I've made it, every time I use Certo, I have no problem. I am using a Certo liquid pectin this time, so this is going to be a new one for me and you, and I hope that it works because the process is slightly different. So I'll be using that for the strawberry banana and strawberry rhubarb. I do still have some strawberry from a couple years ago downstairs. That's why I'm not doing just a base strawberry jam, but you can use just strawberry as well. The nice thing about jams is you can pretty much, use whatever fruits you want. I've done a banana pineapple, which was nice. It's kind of tropical. I've done raspberry, blueberry, strawberry, Blackberry I did recently. I did that with the last powdered pectin I had. I de-seeded that, so if I do end up doing raspberry jam, I'll do that recipe for that as well and show you how to de-seed them if you don't like the seeds. I'm not a fan of the seeds in the jam for the raspberry or the blackberry. It just leaves a little bit too, I don't know, I just don't like the texture of it. I prefer to have it without it. So I'll just continue with these. When they're all done, we'll come back and we'll get measured up for all the other ingredients. Okay, so I've hulled all the strawberries and I've taken all of the green tops off. This is what I ended up with here, and you're going to see that each of the green tops has a little bit of strawberry on it. That's what we're going to use to make some strawberry lemonade syrup. So I'm going to set this aside. I'm just going to cover it up real quick. We're going to set that aside, and that's going to be in a separate video, which I will do later today, but I won't be posting with this video. I'll post it as a separate one so you can get an idea on how to make syrups. You could do like a lemonade syrup, strawberry lemonade, strawberry. You could do this with pretty much any berry, which is really good. So I'm just going to cover that up so I don't get any fruit flies on it. We're going to set those aside. And I will get back to that a little later on. Now what I want to do here is I'm going to show you, if I can find where I put it. This is a Certo pectin that I'm using. This is Certo liquid pectin here. This one has 2 pouches in it. This is the first time I've used liquid in the, I don't even know how many, 50 years I've been canning, either with my mother when I was little and as an adult. So I'm going to find, I've taken the rest, there's always a recipe paper or card in there with different recipes. So I'm going to find that because I think I had it in the living room. I'll be right back. All right, so here is, this comes in a little, just a little packet, and that'll be packed up in, whether it's a boxed Certo for the powdered Certo or the liquid one. Every year they seem to change up the recipes on here for the different types you have. So I'm just going to follow this recipe. So if you follow the recipe in the Certo box to a T, no fail, your jam will work. So you have a choice of doing no cooked jams, or cooked jellies. These ones here are, I've got strawberry, raspberry, apricot, orange marmalade. Like I said, every year there seems to be a little bit different. So I tend to save these from year to year in case I want to go back to something. I've also done a little bit of experimentation, which is what I'm going to do today. So basically for the recipe that I'm doing today, it's 3 3/4 cups of crushed strawberries, 7 cups of sugar. Yes, that's a lot. 1/4 cup of lemon juice, and a pouch of Certo pectin. Now I'm actually going to do 2 cups of strawberries and 1.5 cups of banana. So that's going to be my strawberry banana. I'm going to do similarly for the strawberry rhubarb, but I'm sure I have the card somewhere. And basically your instructions at the top here, you're going to mix all your fruit, sugar, lemon juice, if it's listed in the recipe, in a large pan. I use a heavy bottomed pan, which I have right there. So that's what I use. You're going to bring everything to a boil on high heat, and you just continually stir it as it goes. Once it comes to a good rolling boil, not just bubbling at the outsides, a good rolling boil that you can't stir away. That's what it means by a boil. You're going to cook it for 1 minute. Take it off the heat, add in the liquid pectin. You're going to stir it for 5 minutes, just continually, and stir off any any fuzzy stuff at the top. I usually put that aside and have it on a piece of toast later. We'll put it in jars, we'll water bath it and go from there. So I'll go through that process as we finish off. So I am going to use my food processor right here, and I'm going to get all that stuff measured out, and we'll put everything in the pot. All right, so I'm going to start off with the banana, and I want to do about 1 3/4 cups of banana, which should be probably 2 of these bananas. Now I also measure in a liquid measure, so I'm going to do 2 bananas. If I have a little extra, well, I'm not overly concerned about that. We'll measure it up properly, and I can use the rest of it for a smoothie. So these are speckled, nice and ripe. That's just exactly what you want. And I've dropped the nub on the end, which let's get that thrown in. There, I can put that out for my food waste. And rinse my hands off. Your choice if you want to use a potato masher like this. Too many nuggets in there. You can use a potato masher and just mash it in the pot if you want. I like using the food processor. It makes it nice and simple. And this way I can just dump it from here into a measuring cup. So get this blended up. And I want that pretty much. I don't want it lumpy, I just want it into kind of a paste. So we're gonna get a measuring cup out here. I probably should have measured it already. There we go. And I want to have 1 3/4 cup. There we go. And let me get a spoon. I thought I had a spoon here. There we go. All right. So I'm going to measure this out. I might need more of this. I have plenty of bananas. So, whoops. Messy cook, as the name goes. I'm already pouring stuff out of here. All right. Looks like I'm going to need at least 1 more banana because that looks like just about a cup. So I'll add 1 more banana here. And we'll get that blended up. Let's get this peeled. There we go. I'll break that in a few pieces so it blends easier. And I don't like these stirring things in here. They'll break up too. You won't even know they're in there, but I prefer to remove them. And I like to get my bananas nice and ripe. They don't have to be that ripe. I like them that way because they're nice and sweet. So here we go. Oh, forgot to put the blade back in. So let's move that banana out of the way. There we go. It should work. Helps if the blade's in there just to get everything going. There we go. So let's see how much this makes. If that's 1 3/4 cups, that's perfect. Then we can just add that right into the pot. And if it's a little bit under, and I don't need to do a whole banana, I'll just add the difference in strawberries. But let's see what we have here. Oh, another good scoop of that. There we go. 1 3/4 cup. It's about 1 2/3, so we're slightly under, but that's okay. So I'm going to dump that in anyhow. We're going to call that 1 3/4 cup, and I'll just go a tiny bit over on the strawberries. So I want 2 cups and a tiny bit of strawberries. So we're going to put that back in. I'm just going to throw in a bundle of strawberries. You know, when you get strawberries, you want them at their peak season. If you want to do this in the winter with ones that you get in the grocery store, you can absolutely do that. They won't be quite as sweet, but that sugar will sweeten them up as much as you probably need anyhow. This looks like a little over more than 2 cups, and that's okay. So again, you can just put it in and mash it if you like. I prefer, get that out of that pan. I prefer just to blend it. If you want really chunky jam, then my recommendation honestly would be to use the potato masher. You can use these ones, or you can, like this one here that I have, or you can use a little round one, but that's entirely up to you. I prefer here, I can control the coarseness of the berries for what I want. So let's get that. And we want 2 cups of these measured up. And I'm going to pulse it so I can control the size of the berries. I do like a little bit of texture. I don't want it to be completely liquid. I'm going to push the sides down here. Remember, we want 2 cups and a tiny bit. Give them a good pulse just to make sure. There, that's perfect. So let's get these out. Set that down. These blades are real sharp. So this is the texture that I like, but you can do whatever texture you like. So like I said, we want about 2 cups here. So let's measure out. Ooh, I think I did a pretty good guess here. I'm a tiny bit over, which is exactly what I wanted, to measure out to 3 3/4 cup total fruit for this recipe. Now again, this is strawberry banana. I like the strawberry banana. It's something my mom made when we were kids. Really great with peanut butter, like peanut butter and jelly sandwich or peanut butter and jam sandwich. This is probably my favorite strawberry blend. I do love the strawberry rhubarb too, but absolutely love strawberry banana. So this is just over the 2 cup mark. You can see, sorry there, it's a little overflowing, but that's okay. So that's what we're looking for. And I believe this called for 7 cups of sugar, so I'm going to take a quick look at that. I'm going to show you what we have in the pot. Let me get this over to the side because I'm going to use that again a little later. The cloth, get a little wipe here. The bottom of the pot is not sticky. I'm going to slide that over. So this is what we have. It does not look like a lot, and it isn't a ton, but this is going to be enough to make a batch of jam. This makes, I think it's going to make about 7 1-cup jars or 250 milliliter jars. So basically just want to stir that up. We're going to add in, so make sure I'm doing the regular strawberry recipe, but like I said, mixing half and half. 7 cups of sugar. So I have another 2 cup, actually have a regular 1-cup measure here. So I'm going to use 7 of these. Sorry, I should have had that prepared. Another bucket of sugar, which just makes it easier for me. So this recipe basically says you're going to measure the sugar, the fruit. So let's do our 7 cups. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 7 cups of sugar. I'm going to back on here, and I'm going to grab the lemon juice, and I believe we're using half a cup of lemon juice, so let me add that in. And yes, that's a lot of sugar, but that's okay. Okay, I was wrong. It's actually 1/4 cup of lemon juice. I'm just using bottled lemon juice. That's fine. They actually say for jams it's a little bit better to do that. So I'm just going to measure out 1/4 cup. Actually, I'm going to set this down here because if I don't, I'm going to do it on this side because it's easier. There, that's 1/4. So I'm going to add that in. Perfect. So we're going to get this all stirred together, and I'm going to move it over to the stove, and we're going to go from there. All right, so right here, I'm going to straighten this out a little bit. I've put on a pot of water to boil, so I am going to process these. But what I'm going to start with, basically you're going to have hot jam go into hot water. So I've boiled that. I'm going to turn it down just to low to keep it hot right now. I now have my sugar and fruit mixture and lemon juice on the stove here. So I'm going to scrape this. I prefer to do this with a wooden spoon, but you can use a spatula, something that's heat safe. And I'm going to turn this on. And it says there to bring it to a high heat. So what we're going to do is we're just going to stir this. This is going to all turn to basically a big liquid pile. Now, I've never done this as a low sugar jam. I know in the US there are some Pomona's pectin, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, guys, that you can use to do a lower sugar jam. I've always just done it this way because that's the way I've always done it. I know it's going into this. This is so much, one, it's a little cheaper to make your own jam than it is to buy it. And I know it's fruit, lemon juice, and sugar, and that's it. So, you know, you're not eating this by the cupful. You're eating, you know, by a tablespoon on a piece of toast. So, you know, don't worry about the sugar. It's not a big deal. I do have some bigger pieces of banana in here, which I'm going to just mush up a little bit. And that's okay if they're a little bigger. So what we want to do is we want to continue to stir this. We're going to bring it to a boil. One that comes to the boil, and I'll show you when we get there so you can see exactly what you're looking for. Turn my light as well. There we go. What we're going to do once it comes to a boil is we're going to boil it for 1 minute. And then we take it off the heat, which I'll move it back to the counter. We'll stir in our pectin and go from there. And the other thing too is you want to do ahead of time is make sure your jars are washed and cleaned. Mine are done. I'm going to pop them in the oven just on like 200 degrees just to keep them warm. Because when you're canning, there's a very simple rule basically. Hot with hot with hot. So basically you want hot ingredient in a hot jar, in a hot water bath or pressure cook. Or if you're doing something that's cold, like if you're pressure canning and you're doing a raw pack of chicken, you're going to put raw chicken in, you're going to put it in cold jars, you're going to put it in the pressure canning pot with cold water and you start it, because if you do hot with cold or cold with hot, you'll get like a thermal shock and your jars will break, and then you've wasted money and time and jars, and none of that's super cheap, and you certainly don't want to waste that with the price of groceries nowadays. So I'm going to continue to cook this. When we get to almost boiling, I'm going to show you so you know what you're looking for, and we'll get going from there. All right, this is getting close. I've been stirring this for about 6 or 7 minutes. Everybody's stove's different. I have a gas stove with a pretty high powered burner here, so that's also why you want to continue to stir. You can see there's some foam on the top. That's just the pectin. You know, there's a couple of old tricks that people would do to get rid of that foam. This is the foam that they're talking about to skim off at the end. What I do, and my mother always did, or as much as I can remember, she would put a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of butter in there. So I'm going to put in a small teaspoon, and what that does, and all those diehards that, you know, worry, oh, that's dairy in there, it's not as much that's going to hurt anything, and that's supposed to diminish the this fluffy stuff on the top. So we're just going to continue to stir. That's going to melt in, and it should help diminish it a little bit. It does more so even once you get the pectin in, that helps. Now if you're doing powdered pectin, it's a little bit different. You put the fruit in with the powdered surdo pectin first. You cook that. When it comes to boil, then you add your sugar in, and then you bring it to a boil, and then from there, once it comes to a boil, you cook it for 1 minute, which is basically the same process I'm doing here. And after that, you just put it in the jars, and we're going to water bath it for 10 minutes afterwards. The 10 minutes is standard for, you could do a little longer if you want, but I do generally 10 minutes. Which is standard for most jams. Years ago, they never water bath jams. This is something that's recommended a little bit more now. And it gives a little bit longer shelf life. So you can, I have jams on the shelf that I've had there for 4 or 5 years. They're still good, although I'm running low. This is why I'm doing jam this year. So you can see here, starting to come to a boil at the edges. And the smell of the strawberry bananas are just reminiscent of childhood. I love the smell. So I just want to continue to stir this. I'll show you when we get to the full boil. So I'm going to pause this until we get there. Okay, that's the full boil. So I'm going to put the timer on here. Timer, 1 minute. And when that timer is up, we're going to take that off. So stir, stir, stir. Don't let this boil over. And we're just going to stir that completely for 1 minute. See, this is what I mean when you can stir, but you can't stir away the boil. That's exactly when you're wanting to start your timer for that 1 minute cook. And this will help get everything so it sets well. So we're just going to let that go until it beeps, and I'll come back as soon as that's done. Okay, down to the last few seconds here. And I'm going to turn my burner off. I want to get this off of the heat, so I'm going to transfer it to my counter, and we're going to bring that over. So let me get that moved over, and we'll come right back. Okay, so that's done. I'm going to add in my liquid pectin now, as this calls for. Like I said, this is the first time I'm using liquid pectin, but that's okay. Also, when you get your pectin, make sure you check your dates, because you don't want to end up with old pectin. So this is the liquid pectin. I'm going to squeeze every last drop out, because I want to be 100% sure that I'm going to make sure that this jam sets. And I'll show you a couple tricks when we're ready to jar it up that will let you know if your jam has actually set or not. So we're going to put a timer on for 5 minutes, and they say to stir this for an entire 5 minutes. So let's get that timer on. 5, there we go. All right, so we want to make sure our water's simmering on the stove for the water bath, and we're going to continue to stir this. And you can see actually the foam's already going down. So I'm going to stir this for about 3 minutes. I'm going to skim some of the rest off, just for, I'll have it with some bread and butter later. And when it's just about the 5 minutes is up, I'll bring you back. I'll be taking those jars that I put in the oven to keep warm. I'll be taking those out, and we're going to get these jars filled up. So we'll come back when that timer goes off. Okay, we're down to our last minute there, and I've stirred and stirred, and I actually have not skimmed off anything. So that little butter trick, my guess, works. So if you want to avoid that, you don't have to do that. You can skim off if need be. Just keep stirring it. I think as you stir it, just kind of everything gets back in there. Now for jars, again, my jars are warm in the oven. Remember, hot liquid, hot jars, warm jars. And they're going to go into a hot liquid and do a water bath for 10 minutes. Once it comes to a boil, it'll be 10 minutes timer. In the meantime, like I said, my jars are warming. I have started using 4 jars lids, and honestly, I haven't used any of their jars yet. But the 4 jars lids are the best lids I've ever used. I have not had one fail. Maybe one out of probably, I think I started using them last year, and I've probably used over 500 lids, or close to that, at least 400. I had one fail recently. That was a first, and then that could have also been a problem on my part. Maybe I didn't wipe the rim properly, but that's okay. So what you want to do is you want to have your jars washed and sterilized. Keep them hot in an oven. I show you the other things I have ready here. That's just about ready to go, so I think I'm safe for, for not stirring it anymore. So I have here a dish with some white distilled vinegar. That's to help wipe the rims. I have some, a pile of 4 jars lids. Again, they're basically no fail. I'm not an affiliate or anything, but I'd love to be, but that's okay. I probably don't can enough to match that. There's my timer for the 5 minutes. I'm going to get out my jars out of the oven. Basically, like to have everything ready. I've got my thing for putting it in. I've got my I can't even talk today. I've got my scoop there, my ladle, and I'm going to take these out of the oven. So I'm going to turn that oven off for the moment too, because it's a warm, hot day here. Southern Ontario has been crazy, crazy hot this week. We've had humidex of 45 Celsius most of the week, so thank God for air conditioning. Thank the Lord for that. So yeah, so what we're going to do is I'm going to start just getting these filled up with the jam. So I'm going to show you, do we want a 1/4 inch head space? We're going to fill them all up. Look at that, I'll give that one last stir. There we go. Get that out of there. They're in the sink. We're going to get these, let me just aim this a little bit better so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. So remember, hot jars, hot jam. These are 250 mils or 1 cup measures. These are perfect size for a smaller family. Now, if you have a bigger family and you guys eat a lot of jam, you know what, you can do the 250 mil jars. Not 250, sorry, the 500 mil jars. Those are great too. Those are the ones we grew up with. We grew up with a family of 8, 6 kids and my parents, and we canned all summer long. That was part of our summer learning, I guess, which we did learn because we're all doing it. Not all of us, but a few of us are still canning now that we're older. And you know what, in this day and age, you don't know what's going into anything. If you can't pronounce it, you probably don't want to eat it. I can't say don't eat any processed food, but I make a lot of what I eat. I can a lot, and I'm doing more and more as the years have gone on. So I'm going to continue to fill these, and I'll show you how I clean the rims off and get them ready for the water bath. Okay, so in the middle of doing the last couple of jars, I had a bit of a mishap and knocked a jar over all over the counter and the floors, and thank God got my foot. I got splashed, but it's not too bad. This could have been 3rd-degree burns and a trip to the hospital. So I'm going to clean this up, and we're going to get back to wiping those lids and getting them in. Okay, so that's all cleaned up, and that's a huge disaster averted. I have a clean cloth here. I'm going to soak it in a little bit of vinegar here, and I'm going to squeeze that out because I don't want any vinegar in my jam, but I just want to use this. And basically what the vinegar does is I just kind of push a little bit over the top, and we want to get all the jam off the top rim as well as around any edges. So I ended up with 7 jars. I probably would have had 7.5 or 7 in a little 125 millimeter little tiny jelly jar full, but unfortunately I dropped that amount on the ground. But I'm quite happy with this. So this is going to be 7 jars, 1 cup jars of banana strawberry jam. Like, again, this is my favorite. So if you get a dirty spot, you're just gonna wipe again. Now I've had to wipe the outside because the one that spilled went all down the sides, and any other stuff that's on the outside just going to wash off in the water bath anyhow. So that's basically what we're looking for. I've got a few more to go, so let me finish these. Okay, so I've got them all done. I'm going to put my 4 jars lids on. We want to make sure, basically the reason for wiping that off is getting any gunk. You want this clean, the rim. I don't reuse my lids either, just so you know, whenever I take something off, it gets tossed in the garbage or recycling because they're good for recycling. You just want to make sure by wiping them with vinegar or hot water if you're not comfortable with the vinegar, and putting a clean lid on, is that you're going to get a good seal. And this little button here, when you're all done, you want that to be popped down. So we're going to put these on finger tight. There we go. Normally I just put tags on my jars, but I'm going to put a little SB for strawberry banana on each of these. And then that way, when I'm all done, I'll know which ones are which, and we can put labels on them accordingly. So we're going to get these all done here, and we're going to get them into the water bath, and then I'll show you that point. These are just finger type. You don't want to wrench on them, you just want to do a finger type. So I'm ready to put these in the water bath, and hopefully you can see that a little bit. And you can move this up a bit, maybe. Well, maybe not, that doesn't matter. You can see that there's a little rack in the bottom there, and that rack, I really wish I could get you a better view. There's a rack in the bottom there. So what we want to do is you want to take all these jars, and now my floors are sticky. Well, I'll worry about that after. And I ended up with 8 jars, not 7. So that's even better. We've got this temperatures back up here. And what I want to do is I want to get all these jars in. We're going to water bath them, and I forgot to put the initials on them, but I put it on one of them, so that's all that matters. So when I take these out, I'll know that these are all strawberry banana, and I'll mark them accordingly afterwards. I'll also label them, so I'm going to put 8 in here. What we want to do after this is we want to top this with hot water, and we want them to be covered by about 1 inch. I probably should have put a little more water in there, but that's okay. And we're going to bring this to a boil. So I'll get this filled up. Let me find a pot here I can fill up with some water, so I don't drop anything over here. There we go. So some hot boiling water in there, and I'm going to show you how full that needs to be in just a second. Okay, so I'm adding some more water in here, and these are covered by about 1 centimeter. Honestly, that's enough. You can do, everybody says by 1 inch, but honestly, that's fine. So I'm going to leave this here. I'm going to bring this to a boil. When this comes to a full boil, kind of like a rolling boil like we saw with the jam, I'm going to turn the timer on for 10 minutes, and we'll be all set. So we'll come back at that point, and I'll show you what we have. In the meantime, I just want to show you with, well, you can actually see this jam here. Let me get my spatula here. This is the jam that we just did. You can see here, see how it's dripping down, and that's already gelled. So that's pretty good. And if you put your, it's probably hard to see here, but if you put your finger through and the jam doesn't leak into that line, it's going to be set, because this is nice and cool now. You can also put some on a plate, do the same thing, run your finger through it or a spatula through it, and if you turn it sideways and it doesn't flop over into the spot that you just wiped down, you're all set. So this looks like this jam is going to set. So we're going to come back when that 10-minute boil is over, and I'll show you what we have. Okay, so that rolling bowl there, I'm going to put a timer on for 10 minutes. We're going to let that boil for 10 minutes, and then we're going to take them out and let them cool, and you leave them for 24 hours for lids to pop down. So I'll show you that when that's all done. In the meantime, I am going to go back and get the strawberry rhubarb started where this is going, and I will show you all of that in a moment so you understand the process. So what I'm going to do is as I showed you earlier, I froze some rhubarb. I actually thought it was last year, but I guess it was 2 years ago I bought, and I'm just going to measure that out. So again, I'm going to follow the same recipe for the strawberry jam, but instead of strawberry, I'm doing strawberry rhubarb. And what I want to do is put that in and see how much we have. I could do 2. If you want it really heavy in it, you could do that. I'm going to add the juice in as well, so I have about 1.5 cups of that. I'm going to process up some strawberries. So I'm going to do 2 and a quarter cup of processed strawberries. So we'll just take from my big pile here. Whatever I've left from these, from that, I'm going to have some for eating. The rest of them I'm going to freeze. A few extra in there, and hopefully that will measure out correctly. Again, if you want bigger chunks, you can mash this up yourself with a potato masher. I just prefer the food processor. You can also do this in a Vitamix or a blender of some sort. Just get the size of chunks you want. That looks pretty good to me. Take that out, my marker out of the way, and I'm going to measure out 2 1/4 cups. So hopefully you can see that here. Let's see. Yeah, you can see there. Sorry, my camera work is not great, but it's also hard to try to do it all. Show the camera. So yeah, this is gonna be a little bit. If I smush that down 2 there and a little bit, so that's going to measure out. If you're a little bit over in the fruit, it's not a big deal. So right there, I'm going to have 3 3/4 cups of my mixed fruit. This again is strawberry rhubarb. Basically, we're going to go through exactly the same process. I'm adding 7 cups of sugar. I'm going to get this on the stove. Get all that in there. I don't want to miss any. I'm going to get that on the stove. I'm going to bring it, add the sugar in. I'm going to bring it to, I'm going to put the fruit in, 7 cups of sugar I'm going to add to this. I'm going to put it on the stove and bring it to a boil when it's full rolling boil, just like I showed you with the strawberry banana jam. We're going to take it off the heat. This one I'm not going to add the lemon juice to, and the reason is because the rhubarb is pretty acidic. I don't think we need any more acidity in it, so I'm not going to add the lemon juice. So I'm just going to do strictly strawberries and rhubarb, sugar, put on the stove, bring it to a boil it for a minute, take it off. I'm going to add the other pectin in, we're going to jar it up, and we're going to process like the other one. So I'm going to get that going, and I'll get it to the stove in just a couple minutes and you can see where we're at. Okay, so here's the strawberry rhubarb. Again, we're just going to mix. Like I said, if you want to add the lemon juice, you can. I don't personally think it's needed. Like I said, the rhubarb, if you ever tasted rhubarb raw, it's got a bit of a sour bite. That's more than enough acidity than we need. So I'm just going to get this going here. Mix that all together. We're going to bring that to a rolling boil. We're going to cook it for 1 minute and then take it off and add the pectin in. We're going to get it in the jars. And by that time, this all happens. The jars that I have boiling away in here, these are the strawberry banana jam. They're boiling like crazy. When those are done, I'll be able to take those out, let them cool, and then I'll be able to put the other jars in. Now I've put the other ones back in the oven to keep warm. So again, hot product, hot jars, hot liquid. So I'll get this done. We'll get them jarred up, and I'm going to come back when they're all done, show you how they looked, show you what you're looking for a seal after the water bath, and show you what it looks like. So thanks again for joining, and I'm going to come back later, show you all this. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for coming to the Messy Cook again. As you know by my name, that's why I had some messes. It's the first time I've dumped over a jar of jam though, so please do be careful with yourself. Use oven mitts. Long pants are helpful, especially if you're working with jam. It's like liquid hot sugar. You don't want to burn yourself, trust me. So you have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to try to get some more canning recipes up this year, and hit that little bell as a reminder, and make a comment. That certainly helps the channel. I appreciate you coming. Happy summer. Stay cool in this nasty heat, and we'll see you shortly. Okay, so the timer just went off on the strawberry banana jam, and I'm just going to take these out, and I'm going to put them in my little box here. I just use the same box that the jars came in, and I put some paper towel on the bottom just to dampen up any spare water, so that way the jar doesn't, the box doesn't get soft. So let's just show you here. That's what the strawberry banana looks like. Looks very nice. So I will come back when I get the strawberry rhubarb done. So I'm stirring the strawberry rhubarb jam after it's come off the stove. Again, you do for 5 minutes. You can see here the fruit. So the part of the stirring process afterwards, along with getting, getting rid of the foam if you have it, I used the butter trick again to put a teaspoon of butter in there when it was boiling for the 1 minute, and I didn't get any foam at all, but that's, you know, entirely an option if you want to use or not. And basically, stirring this will help so when you make the jam and you put it in the jars, the fruit won't float quite as much. It might a little bit, but again, if you puree it more, you know, you're not going to worry about pieces of fruit floating. This one being strawberry rhubarb, obviously there's a little bits of rhubarb in there. You can see there's the rhubarb. This will have, being frozen beforehand too, will soften even more, which is kind of nice, and will blend a little bit more into it. So I'm just going to continue to stir this for a few more minutes. I'll get it jarred up, and when all the jars are sealed, I'll show you what you're looking for to make sure that you know that they've sealed and that they're shelf stable. So we'll see you in a while. Okay, so the strawberry rhubarb and the strawberry banana jams have cooled. All the tops have popped down. So if there's any, you can see here, focus in, you can see there's kind of a little circle there. If that is popped up, like if you go to press it and it makes a popping sound, like when you open a jar of pickles or something and you get that popping sound. If it pops up and down, it's not sealed. These have all sealed. I've checked them all. Perfect. So this is a strawberry banana. I still have to label them. There's a strawberry banana. It has floated a little bit. I'm not concerned about that. And the strawberry rhubarb. They do look similar, so be sure to either write the dates and the names on the top or put labels, which is what I do on the side. So my dad came to visit, so he's taken one jar of the strawberry rhubarb, and he's gonna let me know how that is. And otherwise, I ended up with 8 jars of each. So I'm very happy with that. And yeah, so don't forget to subscribe. I do hope you join my channel if you haven't already. And welcome back. We'll see you again soon.